In this example, I'd like to show you how to apply actions to the different objects inside of your jig. You can see that at the bottom of our scene, we have a number of different attachments available. We also have a correlating step for each of these attachments, where we feature the attachment attached to our robotic arm, and we also have different information cards that correspond to that specific end effector. So in order for me to apply actions to these objects, I'm going to start off by selecting our first object. I'll then go up to the Object Properties panel, and in this panel, I'm going to select to add an action. Now the type of action I'd like to select is for the object to direct our user to a specific step of our jig. In this case, I'm going to direct the user to step 2 of our jig, and I'll apply this to all the steps of our jig so that this object always remains actionable. Now in order for me to test this out, I just need to press and hold Alt and click on our object. And you can see that when the user clicks on this object inside of the app, they'll be directed from step 1 to step 2, where we feature this welding torch. Next, I'm going to show you how to integrate a sales page into your jig via actions. In order to do this, I'm going to add a purchase image into my scene. So I'm going to the Add Content menu, and I'll select this image from my folders. And I'll apply this to all the steps of my jig. And I'm going to position this image just below our welding torch page. Now I'm going to customize this image to have a little bit of transparency, and I'll add a bit of a grey hue so that it matches the information card above. So inside the Object Properties panel, I'll select an action, and in this case I'm going to select Go to URL. And I'm going to paste in the link to my sales page, and I'll apply this just to the current step of my jig. This will allow any user that selects this object in our jig to be redirected to our website's sales page. In order to test this out, I just need to press and hold Alt and click on this object, and you can see that we've been redirected via this web link. In the next example, I'll show you how to integrate actions into your jig in order to create an interactive learning module. In order to do this, on step 3, I've brought in an image card that has our step 3 question. And I'm going to apply actions to the yes and no images based on the user's answer. Now, according to this question, the answer yes is false, which is shown on step 4. So in order for me to create this action, I'm going to select my object and go to the Object Properties panel, and here I'll apply an action and select Go to Step, and I'm going to set this to step 4. Now I'm just going to apply this to the current step of my jig, and given that the answer no is correct and it's shown on step 5 of my jig, I'm going to apply an action to the no button as well. And I'll select step 5 and apply this to our current step. So now when our user selects either yes or no, they'll be directed to the correct step in this sequence. In the next example, I'm going to show you how to integrate jig links inside of a jig. In order to do this, I've applied actions that will lead the user from step 1 to the step relating to these devices shown on the bench. I'm going to press Alt and click on this one here. You can see that it's led me to step 3 of my jig, and on this page I have 2 different objects that I'd like to apply actions to. The back button already has an action applied to it, and it will lead the user back to step 1, which acts as our main menu. So on step 3, I'd also like to add a link that leads a user from this current jig into a jig specifically relating to the microcentrifuge. So I'm going to click to select this object, and in the Object Properties panel, I'll add a new action, and I'm going to select Go to URL, and the URL target that I add in here will be the jig link that I've copied for the microcentrifuge jig. Now I'm going to add that action into my jig. In order for you to get this jig link, you can go to the Share button in the top right hand corner of your jig. We just need to set this to public in order for this link to be available for anyone to view. And we then go to Share Link, and this will create your custom jig link that you can then copy and paste to any of your social medias, or as I've shown here, can be copied and pasted into a jig object in order for that to link. So in order for me to test this out, I'm going to press and hold Alt and click on this action object. Now you can see that this action object has redirected us using the jig link, and we're opening up the centrifuge jig inside of the web viewer. This integration of jig links can allow for further collaboration between different jig projects and provide added interactivity inside of your jigs.